What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today is another video idea that came from you. So this was a video idea that I took from a weekly wrap-up that I did quite a while ago now. I think it was called I don't even know what to do anymore or something like that. And somebody commented on it, and I'm sorry, I forget who it was. It got locked away in the mind vault. What would you, excuse me, what would your dream pen be? What could you design your dream pen to be? So I was thinking about it, and immediately I had a few ideas come to my noodle, as it were. And so I sort of started thinking about some of the things that I adore in some of my favorite pens. And even the pens that I have as my favorites have problems with them, or I would want to pick and choose and borrow. So I sort of used that mentality to sort of create a pen. So I did write down some ideas, and by some I mean I have a whole page here. And so I'm going to walk you through. Now, is this a complete, all-encompassing, I could give this to a pen manufacturer and they'd be able to make it? Probably not. They'd still have, I'm sure, a billion questions for me, because I don't know what goes into the thought process behind making a pen, but I just had fun with it. So this is what I've sort of come up with. The very first thing I wanted to decide was what kind of filling mechanism. So cartridge, converter, vacuum, piston, pneumatic, bulb filler, whatever, eyedropper. There's so many to choose from now. And my first instinct was cartridge because it tends to be the one that is the easiest to clean. It's the ones that I sort of gravitate to a little bit more, but I decided no, because I really like vacuum fillers. And I really wanted a vacuum filler. So I have, a Visconti and a Pilot Custom A23 as some of my favorite pens. These are vacuum fillers, but they're a bit of a pain in the butt to clean. And then I sort of had TWSBI pop in my mind, their VAC 700 and VAC 700R, I think is the other one that's called. With the fact that you can take it apart really easily and clean it. So that is my little asterisk. I want a vacuum filler pen, but it has to take note from TWSBI and come with stuff that you can completely take it apart, clean it up, and not really have a rough time. So that's the first thing. I'd like it to be roughly the same size as a Pilot Custom 823. But I want it to be just a smidge heavier. And I know that's not super scientific, but I didn't want to put a weight to it. One, because I don't have a measuring tool to measure how heavy this pen is. But because I don't post my pens, I know if I do post it, it would add a little bit of weight to it, but I don't like to do it. So I would like there to be just a smidge more weight added to the pen itself. But I would like it to be roughly the same size as this, because I think this is a good size. I think it's a big size, but not oversized. So I would want that. And I would also like it to be a warmer tone pen. So along the same lines of an amber color, or the new Visconti Homo Sapiens Arizona Sunset, which I may or may not have purchased. It just hasn't arrived yet, and I'm super excited about it. So along the same lines of that, and I'm okay with the material being resin, because that's another thing I thought of. I was man, would I want it to be this crazy material, a Macrolon, not that that's crazy, or the lava, or whatever, and make it that kind of a color. And I was no, you know what? I'm okay with resin, but I want it to be a warmer tone, but have some depth to the material. Something where you can get lost looking at it and just almost feel like you're looking into like a galaxy type thing where there's just so much depth to it and you just could go forever and almost like discover new things every time you look at this pen. So that's sort of where I'm at with that. And I want the threads, I thought a lot about the threads. I want the threads to be made out of the same material or a very similar material to the point where it kind of blends in with the body. Like you don't really see it and you don't really feel it. I want them to be shallow. But I very, very much love the hook safe lock from Visconti. So I know that that's probably like trademarked and stuff, so you can't take it, but I love it. And this is my dream pen, so I mean, I can do what I want, right? So I would want to take the hook safe from this. But I would want it to blend in a little bit more, and I would want there to be like a bigger grip section or a longer grip section where you don't like have my thumb resting on that hook safe, which isn't really a huge big deal, but in my dream pen, that's what I would choose. So I'd want them to be made out of the same material and definitely blend in with the pen and be hook safe, or something like insanely similar to hook safe, because I absolutely love it. I would want the nib to be gold and the ebonite and the feed to be ebonite, but I want there to be swappable units. I don't want you to just be forced to buy just one and then that's it. Like I want you to be able to take out the whole nib, feed, and collar and be able to swap out different nib units, whether that's flex, from extra fine all the way up to like, double broad, whatever. Throw obliques in there. I don't really care how many there are. I'm okay with just the standard nib sizes, but I want there to be swappable nib units. Gold nibs, ebonite feed, and all of them are to be tuned to be super, super wet with just like the barest kiss, the finest little whisper of feedback, just enough to let you know that you're writing. And I want the feel of the nib to be bouncy with a bit of feedback. So I was sort of thinking like the Pilot Falcon. This is the 912 with the ebonite feed, where I don't use this. Wait, did I say Falcon? No, this is the Pilot Custom 912, not the Falcon. The Custom 912. This one in particular is the number 10 size nib. It'd be cool if it was a larger nib, so like a number size 15. But I don't use this. If you've watched any of my videos on the Custom 912, I don't use the Falcon nib to necessarily do a lot of the flexi writing, but what I appreciate about it is that as I'm writing, it picks up my characteristic of mood. So like if I'm angry, then it tends to be heavier handed. If I'm like super happy, it tends to be a little bit more bubbly. Like because the tines are very flexible and they're a little bit bouncy and responsive, like it really reflects my writing, that changes upon my mood. And I want that same feel in my dream pen without being a flex writer. There could be that option as part of the flexible, like swappable nib units, but just like the standard nibs, I want there to be some bounce, some responsiveness to it. Not necessarily, like I said, flex, but just something to like show your personality a little bit while you write. And in the cap, I want it to sort of take on the Platinum Century, like inner seal, where you can basically leave it inked up forever, and it's not going to dry out. So I would want that. And I think that's primarily what I said. Yeah, so vacuum filler that comes with the tools to easily take apart, roughly the same size of the Pilot A23, but a smidge heavier. Warm tone pen along the lines of amber, like the Visconti Homo sapiens. Swappable nib units, gold nib, ebonite feed, tuned to be super wet with heavy flow and only a teeny touch of feedback. And I want it bouncy and responsive. I'm okay with resin, but it has to have some depth, something you can get lost looking at. Threads to blend in with body, hook safe lock, inner seal in a cap like platinum to not dry out. So I only have 8 requests. That's not, too bad. So yeah, like just taking, the seal, the bouncy feel, the hook safe lock, you know, a kind of color-ish jumping off point and vacuum fill. So like, I'm pulling from other pens, but that's sort of along the general lines of something that I would create. I imagine it would be a very expensive pen, but who knows? I'm sure there could be more. I thought about putting like, you know, Maki or Rodin or Urushi or whatever's to it when I was thinking about the material. And I decided, no, I'm probably okay with resin because I want this to be a pen that I would be comfortable using as like my one and done. Whereas if I had something that was like super duper fancy, I don't know if I'd want to like take that with me, you know? Like when I go to play D&D at a friend's house, I just take this with me. And right now it's got my Pilot Custom 74 in it. You know, if I had like some crazy expensive, some crazily designed pen or whatever, I wouldn't really want to take it to a buddy's house to play D&D. Like, yeah. So that's why that's why I made the decision to go with resin instead of something fancy, which would keep some of the cost down. I would be very curious to speak to like a pen designer like Edison Gray, Brian Gray from Edison Pen Company. Duh. And just like have a conversation about like expectations versus realistic expectations, because I'm sure just the thought process that has to go into stuff like this is insanity. But it's a dream pen. I don't really have any limitations and I can do what I want. So that's mine. So yeah, that would be my dream pen. But I'm curious because dream pens are interesting. Sorry, Parker's meowing in the background. Because everyone has like such a different idea. So I'm curious, let me know in the comment section down below if you could make your dream pen. Well, first of all, have you even thought about making your own dream pen? And second, if you have, what would be like the general idea of what you would want to make? So let me know in the comment section down below. And while you're down there writing that, you might as well hit the like button if you've liked this video. It really does help with the whole YouTube algorithm thing. Subscribe if you want to see more every Monday and Friday and the occasional rando on Tuesdays. And if you want to help support me and what I do here, check out the Patreon that I have in the description. But as always, if you're still watching this far in, you are the reason I make these videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to thank all of my VIP and above patrons. This was filmed May 2nd, so if you don't see your name and you've just started supporting me, don't worry. It will appear as soon as I can update it. So we have Mr. Daniel Roddy, we have Elizabeth, Glenn Kelly, Joan Worthman, Brian Hunter, Aaron C., Luna Wolf Games, Bobby A. Bailey, Bass, Whaley Chang, Brian Law, Lucas Bell, Aubrey Madcore, Marissa Calvo, Eric Lineman, Jessica Chow, Stephen Baldwin, Carol Lowry, Michael Simon, Sean Sturdy, Catherine Molina, Robert Myers, Bianca Andrews, Bill Pemberton, Karen Epstein, Gretchen Peters, Subiwan Kenobi, which is just the best name. She's actually presidential tier, Bianca Andrews, digitaltent.tech, and McCall Bennett Lawrence. Thank you all, regardless of the tier you choose. You will never know how much it actually means to me that you support me, my content, and what I do here. Thank you, thank you, thank you.